Sara, what are your thoughts on the state of city finances and how it got out of the deficits? Was it taxing their way out or managing their way out?
Again, it's a situation where I didn't really have all the information in front of me that I could really dig right in and get the answers. But I will say this. The last thing I would really hate to do is have to tax the citizens any more than they already have been. Just from walking around and talking to people, I mean, they're ready to pack up and move. And so I think we need to keep that in mind the next time around. We really need to stop necessarily raising taxes and just try to find other methods of getting our finances back in line.
Related to that, City Manager Jason Molino has sometimes been a controversial figure, and his recent raise, there was some controversy around that. Looking back at the last 3 years of the job that he's done, and we'll start with you, Sara, how would you assess how Jason has run the city? Do you support what he's done, or are there issues that you would bring up? And if you had been on council, would you have voted a raise for him?
I think Jason he came in during a very tough time. I mean, we have to remember, we were, financially in the red. I mean, we were not doing good. So he came in during a very tough time. And during his time, financially, we're starting to see our way out of it. So, I mean, I think he has done a good job. If I were on council and was, given that option of giving him the raise or not, to be quite honest with you, I don't know. If that were me, I would have to look at the public around me. Are they getting raises in their jobs? Are they getting promotions? Are they, how are they doing? And right now, it's just not happening. So I probably would have not. And hopefully, I don't know. It's a situation where, everybody wouldn't mind taking that raise. But if it were me, I probably would have not given him that raise.
Marianne, that is a common criticism that a lot of people in the private sector are hurting right now, and you were one of the council members that voted in favor of that. Address that issue as far as the private sector goes and what's going on and how it relates to Jason, but also I'd like to hear your thoughts on assessing how you see what Jason's done the last 3 years.
I think Jason has done a good job. I think, we'll keep that in mind as we move forward, and I support Jason. I did give him a nominal raise. I realize that, not everybody has gotten raised, but people have gotten raises this year. His raise was in line with the union raises that we gave. So to say that we're going to freeze the wages of the city manager and then give everybody that works under him a raise doesn't seem to make sense, and I don't know how you keep qualified people in a job if that's going to be your mindset. I mean, who's going to come to work here if Jason leaves knowing that you're going to get a salary and it's not going to go up unless, everybody in the city gets a raise. Having said that, and Sara knows this, the superintendent just got a nice raise, and she makes, at least 40% more than our city manager. So I find it hard to believe that she wouldn't support a public servant getting a raise.
Well, we're going to, nice transition, because you brought up about the school system, and I want to get to the North Street athletic fields. It's not quite a city council issue yet, but it could be. And at least one city councilman has made it an issue for himself, Ward 1 Councilman Bill Cox. But if this project goes forward as the school superintendent has laid it out, the city council would be asked to apply for a grant as part of the funding scheme for the athletic fields on North Street. Sara, would you be in favor of supporting a grant application for that project?
Yes, I would. The reason why is because in the last 20 years, we've had an increase of sports teams here in Batavia, not just at the high school level, but, with modifieds, with JV, and with even the varsity sports. We just don't have the room any longer for our students to be practicing and having their games on the appropriate fields. With that being said, I do agree with the fact that they really do need to make sure this is covered under grants. Again, I would hate to have our taxpayers have to pay this, through school taxes.
Marianne, how do you feel about it?
Well, it's a little strange to me that, on the one hand, everybody's leaving Batavia, but on the other hand, there's this big explosion in children playing on sports teams. So, there's kind of a dichotomy there that I don't understand. Having said that, I understand that this is a position that the school board has, it's school board property, but as a city council person, I realize that I have an obligation to the taxpayers, and there's two ways to raise revenue. You raise revenue through taxes, raising the expenses that people have to have incurred on themselves, or you raise the tax base and you spread those taxes out. And so my support would be to have the fields, but to have them in a different location, maybe somewhere out in the town. That also has students in our school system. We have one school system in Batavia, town and city. So I'd like to see that land developed. I mean, I had a constituent come to me with an idea to put greenhousing on that space. He's already said that he's approached one of the school board members with the possibility of purchasing that. So I know that there are options for that land, and I know there are options that can benefit all the children, all the taxpayers, and we can still have them have fields somewhere.
Our time is flying by, but Howard, let's have a final question from you for both Sara and Marianne.
Great. Well, we'll sort of pick up on that same issue. Councilman Cox really championed this issue, did something that we haven't seen much in Batavia from elected officials before, taking out his own ads, really being out in front of this issue. Would that be something that would maybe be an example to carry forward, that if, Marianne, you were retained, or Sara, you come into office, would you use that as an example and maybe find issues to champion on behalf of your constituents in that manner? Marianne, why don't you go ahead and start?
Well, I have championed causes on behalf of my constituents. I just have never paid media to do it. The muck dogs were in my ward, and I worked pretty hard to keep them there. And because a lot of the people that live around there, they rent rooms to the muck dogs. They enjoy going to the stadium. I have the nursing home there, and they enjoy, there's residents going over there, and it's a real asset to the community. So I definitely have championed things in my ward. I'm working hard to get grant money to fix the streets. Summit Street's going to be redone. Bank Street we have a grant for. We're looking to do North and some of Vine. So I've been working hard for my constituents. Just haven't paid anybody to spout my message yet.
Sara?
Yeah, I don't like I said, I don't have any information. Obviously, I've never been in this type of role before. So would I necessarily go out and pay for something that I was that passionate about? I don't know. Would I go out and fight for things that I believe in? Of course I would. Would I be writing letters to the editor? Of course I would. Would I be putting things on the Batavian or, be talking with the WBTA? Of course I would. But in terms of actually going out and paying for ads or stuff like that, I don't know. But I would definitely be fighting for things that I was definitely passionate about.
Well, the ladies, I want to thank you very much for coming in this morning. It's been a good conversation, and we've run over.